ಉಸುರಿನ ಪರಿಮಳವಿರಲು ಕುಸುಮದ ಹಂಗೆ ಕೈಯ ಕ್ಷಮೆದಮೆ ಶಾಂತಿ ಸೈರಣೆ ಇರಲು ಸಮಾಧಿಯ ಹಂಗೆ ಕೈಯ ಲೋಕವೇ ತಾನಾದ ಬಳಿಕ ಏಕಾಂತದ ಹಂಗೆ ಕೈಯ ಚೆನ್ನಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ.
If the breath itself possesses fragrance, why depend on a flower? When Akkamahadevi observed her own breath in the deep spiritual practice of Mahadhyana, meditation, yoga, and penance, witnessing the inward and outward movement of her breath as a silent observer, and turned her mind inward, away from external objects, the breath itself appeared to her as a unique internal experience of fragrance. At a certain stage of her spiritual practice, sadhana, she discovered the experience of fragrance within that very breath. To her, the fragrance of the breath experienced within was far superior to the external fragrance of a flower. Here, breath does not merely mean the movement of air coming in and going out. During spiritual practice, when focus is established on the breath, the mind gradually becomes quiet. In that tranquil inner self, the fragrance of devotion, purity, and the experience of Shiva is felt. When inner fragrance fills my very breath, why should I bring another flower from outside and depend on its fragrance? A flower has its own fragrance, but there is no need to keep holding on to a flower just to get that fragrance. Similarly, if a seeker's inner self is filled with fragrance, why depend on external flowers, decorations, or outer attractions? Kusma, flower. External flower, outer fragrance. Usiru, breath. Inner life energy, Jiva Chaitanya. Parimala, fragrance. Inner purity and the experience of spiritual practice. In the Vedas, Puranas, Ramayana, and Mahabharata, we do not find the fragrance of breath mentioned as a personal spiritual experience. Akkamahadevi closely observed her breath during her practice of Mahadhyana, yoga, and penance, and discovered an inner experience of fragrance within the breath itself. She presented this experience to the world through the Vachana, Usurina parimalaviralu.Kusumada hange kaya. This is a unique expression of her spiritual experience. Kshamedame shanti, sairane iralu, samadhiya hange kaya. When forgiveness, self-control, peace, and patience are present, why depend on samadhi? If forgiveness, self-control, peace, and patience reside naturally in a seeker's inner self, what is the need to separately display I am in samadhi? Kshame, forgiveness. The quality of forgiving those who make mistakes. Dame, self-control. The ability to control the senses and the mind. Shanti, peace. A state of mind free from disturbance. Sairane, patience/tolerance. The strength to face difficulties, pain, and insults with patience. Akkamahadevi points out that if these qualities are expressed in daily life itself, that itself is a form of living samadhi state. Lokave tanada balika, ekantada hange kaya. When one becomes the world itself, why depend on solitude? This is the deepest line of the Vachana. When a seeker reaches a state where they do not see themselves merely as a body or a separate individual, but see the same supreme truth, paramatattva, throughout the entire world, why should there be a desire like, I must stay away from the world in solitude? True solitude is not merely staying away from people. True solitude is the calming down of internal divisions, desires, ego, and dualities within the mind. Even while living in the world, if the mind is established in Channa Mallikarjuna, the entire world itself becomes like solitude to them. Overall summary. Akkamahadevi gives greater importance to inner purity here than to external rituals. If devotion fills the breath, there is no need for a flower. If forgiveness, self-control, peace, and patience exist in life, there is no need to display samadhi. If a state is reached where Channa Mallikarjuna is seen everywhere, there is no need to seek separate solitude. That is to say, the goal of spiritual practice is not to show off externally. Our inner self should become the fragrance, our behavior and speech should become peace, and our vision should become Shiva-filled, Shivamaya. Asking, Channa Mallikarjuna, at the end, is a spiritual question where Akkamahadevi offers her experience before her revered Channa Mallikarjuna, asking, in such an inner state, what other external dependency is needed, O Lord?